I welcome you to my another video about electrician's tools. Today we are going to have a look at GVDA 318 soldering station. I hereby thank the GVDA company for providing me with this soldering station and their multimeter for free for me to test and review them. The packaging includes almost everything needed for basic soldering jobs. The only thing missing here is resin or any other soldering flux, but the Chinese ones tend to be rather useless, so the absence of resin may be actually a win. We get 1 tweezers, painted black, most probably because of ESD or electrostatic discharge. Its quality is just enough to hold bigger SMD parts like SMB package diode, and for smaller SMD parts you need to buy better tweezers. But people who assemble tiny SMDs usually already have their set of professional tweezers. This thin sucker, or more precisely desoldering pump, is not great and also not terrible. I own these two pumps personally. The GVDA pump has clearly the most stiff spring. This one presses sooner. And this one too. So this GVDA pump would theoretically be most powerful when it comes to velocity and pressure. Well, actually not. There is a simple method to tell whether you have good or bad O-ring seal on the piston that moves forward and backward. You press the pump, block the nozzle and see what happens. This one just slows down, as you can see. It's quite old. It slows down, but at least something. This is the newest one. Apart from this, it stops. Once again, it stops. It doesn't leak any air around the piston. And this one, almost like nothing. So this one has quite bad O-ring seal, but you can change it by yourself for new one. Solder thin wire is also included. I would say that it is PB free based on its behavior, and I guess it's 50 grams. I of course tried soldering with this tin and it performed just well, just like my Cinel PB3, and of course worse than my leaded tin, but that's another subject. This tin is solderable at 320 degrees for small things like PCB assembly. The iron also comes with spare tips, or more precisely, other different tips. Fortunately, these are standard 900M tips, so you can get them almost anywhere. You got all shapes from pointy to blunt. Pointy tip is good for tiny SMD things, but it won't be able to exchange enough heat to solder more massive things. That's where blunt tips come at scene. The last thing that comes with this set is this tip cleaning wire. It's the best thing to clean your tip, since all these funny sponges just don't work, and believe me, I've tried like 5 of them so far. None of them could beat wire cleaner. Let's get to the station itself. The mains cable is 3 wire and has only 1 meter of length. My opinion on that is that it is still a little on the shorter side, but if you have outlet or extension cord just right below the table or under the station, it will be just enough. Inside of the station is triac regulation, so there is no mains isolation. If your main socket has live wire on the right, then live goes through the triac, rendering the station less dangerous. But if you have live on the left, neutral wire gets to the triac and live goes straight to the heating element. Fortunately, the protective potential or PE goes just right into the pen, so the pen is directly connected to earth. So if it happens that the ceramic element finally gives up after hundreds of hours soldering, it will trigger your FI, or residual current circuit breaker, if you have it, which I recommend as professional electrician. The cable that connects the pen is like softer PVC, I would say, unfortunately not rubber. Pen is held in hand quite naturally, I would say. It feels the same as KSGR Hakko T12 pen, or just like any other. The station tries to hold all necessary things together. That's neat if you ask me. Pen holder is quite usual with stations. I only want to add that there is sheet metal right there, so there is no danger of melting plastic with tip. To the right we have tips holder. This is actually rubber, so it holds the tips in place and you won't lose them. Also, to the left sits tin holder. My 1 kilogram tin coil won't fit, but I assume that half kilo could, but I don't own any. And 250 grams fit with just no problems. Let's see the station power consumption at startup. That tells us about the ceramic element power. Now to my experience with the station. I soldered like 100 grams of tin with the station, and even the tip has started to disappear a little, which is normal if you don't have nickel additives alongside with copper additives in the tin. But my personal experience is that these 900M tips disappear sooner than better T12 tips, as shown here. But these T12 are just in other category, not like this one. This station is nice to work with. It is powerful enough for wires up to, let's say, 2.5 mm square or 14 gauge. Anything thicker will represent a problem for this station, as the heat transfer from heating element to the tip is far from ideal with 900M system. So this station is for rather smaller soldering like SMDs, THTs and some low power devices. Fasten connectors are easy to solder. XT60 connectors also didn't represent a problem, but connectors like 4mm banana plug, they were quite a test for the station, and I must say that this is comfortable maximum. Anything heavier will just take lots of time, effort, oxidized tin and melted wire insulation. So to sum it up, for $50 you get almost complete soldering set. Only buy resin and you have everything you need. I could imagine this station as my daily soldering station, if I didn't have KSGR T12 of course. But I would also attach longer mains cable and probably even change the cable that connects the station with pen for more flexible rubber cable. That's all for this video. Goodbye and see you in another video.